in your opinion, out of, say, we can include college football, college basketball, and then the big four sports. And why not? The FIFA World Cup, because we're in the season for it as well. FIFA World Cup's thrown in there. Out of all those, what in your mind is the hardest trophy to win? Not, what's your
Mm.
favorite playoffs? Like, what is the most competitive? No. What is the hardest, whether it's mentally, physically, like all of that? So I have an answer, but if you guys don't have one, I can go or whatever you guys want.
I
Go
like
ahead.
this question a lot, and it's easy for me. It's Lord Stanley. Every series is 7 games from the top, and you've got to like it's maybe the most physical out of the big four sports. Yeah, football probably is more physical now. I think now
Yeah,
that I
come on.
really think about it, but I mean, hockey's not too far off. It's not as far off as you think,
Right.
and they've got to play 7 deep in some cases, and the turnaround is what, like 2 days, like the same turnaround you get for the NBA playoffs, which is that really comparable? Not really. I mean, like it seems like a tight turnaround, you know? So I think it's the Stanley Cup, uh, followed followed probably by March Madness, just because, winning 6 in a row in any case is hard to do, single elimination. And then I'll go the NFL playoffs. But I think it's the Stanley Cup playoffs, and it's not really that close.
Wes, do you want me or do you want to go?
I'll go because Angus is blaspheming over here. The correct answer is the World Series. You want to talk about grueling. First of all, you're at the end of a 162 game season that is just notoriously a marathon. After even spring training is like the most grueling regular season I mean, preseason of any sport. You have a 162 game season, and then you get the postseason, and it's also a series. It's not 7 games every series, but it's 5, 7, 7. So close enough. And most teams are going to have to play in the wild card, so 3 before that, and it's when you get to postseason baseball, it becomes such a grind because starting pitchers are going like 3 innings and they're pitching on short rest and relievers are pitching like every game of a series and it's all hands on deck. And when baseball gets like that, it grinds you down. And so it's the World Series.
Here's why I put the NFL playoffs ahead of that is because, yes, there's obviously not as many games just because it's not realistic for football to have any more games than it already does. But the physical toll that it has, I think, is more severe. And then, the you got to think about the Dodgers. Let's think about the Dodgers this last year. Obviously, the World
Right.
Series was an absolute battle against the Blue Jays. But before that, they only had to play 10 games. They played 2 against the Reds, 4 against the Phillies, and 4 against the Brewers before getting to the World Series.
I
In the
mean,
Stanley Cup, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's not possible to make the finals without winning at least 12.
Yeah.
it's 2 more games. And I'm not, it's not
Well,
totally,
it's 2 more games if you beat everyone and you
yeah,
go
but
undefeated,
I
which
mean,
is never going to happen in most
is there
cases,
a
unless you're
competitive
Carolina, apparently.
Okay. Yes, MLB needs a salary cap, so the Dodgers can't just mow through everyone. But I don't think that discredits the difficulty of winning a Major League Baseball postseason. And the other thing is just that baseball is just the hardest sport in the world. And like you talk about the physical, it doesn't have quite the physical grind, although it still is a lot playing as many games as they do, but like mentally, for it being such a
I get
difficult
that.
sport
Yeah.
to fail, 70% of the time for 8 months out of the year, and then it's postseason time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
I think
I agree with you there. Yeah.
yeah, I think you totally have an argument because it is a very, very hard sport. You definitely have an argument for that. No doubt, right? But in my mind, I will agree with Angus. It is the Stanley Cup. I don't think it's close. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's that close. For the fact that Angus mentioned, every series is 7 games. This is a overly physical game. It's a very comparable physical game to the NFL, and the NFL does 1 game playoffs, right? Like 1 game series. I mean, like, and they play 82 games in the regular season. Sure, it's not 164 or 162, excuse me. But, then these players just constantly get hit. They get even more in the playoffs because the playoffs are even more physical. And the thing that, in my mind, speaks to the toughness that it takes to win a Stanley Cup is you always, always see after these NHL series, the teams release an injury report, whether it's, maybe not the team itself, but a media outlet releases the injury report and it's like torn MCL, like ruptured lung, broken rib. Like there's always a long list of, injuries. Like, for example, the Bruins in their elimination game, there was a defenseman playing with a torn MCL. He tore a ligament in his knee and was still playing. Brad Marchand a couple of years had like a punctured lung and a broken rib and was still playing in the playoffs. Like, that just speaks to how tough these guys are and how hard it is to win a Stanley Cup.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I guess maybe it's an argument of like physical versus mental toll more than anything, but I still think like it's really underappreciated how insane it is to play 162 games with as few off days as they have. Like, it takes a different level of mental toughness, and not just toughness, but also like being strategic about not losing your sanity, especially when you're a team like the Cubs and you lose a million games in a row. And like,
Hey, we're almost there. We're almost there.
I mean, I totally agree. Like, you totally do have an argument, genuinely. But, I don't think it's first. I think it's high up there. If I had to rank it, I'd put it 3. I think NFL is harder just because you get one shot, and you have to be on your best or you're screwed. Like, I think that makes the NFL tough in itself, because if you're not on your best game that day or you make, a couple mistakes, you lost. Like,
yeah, but that also makes it easier for a worse team to win it, because you could just get hot for 3 games and you win the what's it called? The Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Dodgers won 111 games in 2023, and the Diamondbacks swept them.
Right.
Like,
I feel like you have that in every sport.
Postseason.
Yeah,
that happens in any postseason.
Right.
So, like, Xavier's logic is kind of why I think March Madness is really hard to win, and that's not just because it's my favorite by a long shot. It's because, like, an off shooting night is all it takes to lose. Like, the NBA playoffs, that's way different, because an off shooting night, you're just down 1-0 in the series. An off shooting night and you are a joke for the rest of eternity, and you're 2018 Virginia. Like, that's insane stakes. You got one game to win, and like, is it usually lopsided at the beginning of the tournament? Yes, but like, all it takes is a stinker and you're out. And like, we see that all the time with 1 seeds. Like, we didn't have 1 seed in the Final Four a few years ago, and like the highest seed was a 4.
Same thing that I said about the NFL is like, it becomes a game more of like, not you have to be the best team, but you have to be in the top 10 teams and get hot at the right time. Like, that's the whole game.
Yeah.
Because at least, especially, I think it's more the case of March Madness and NFL. It's like, you have maybe 10 teams that realistically can win it, and of those 10 teams, it's not going to be the best team that wins it. It's going to be the team that gets hot at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree. Yeah. Like, there is that case, but at the same time, part of the reason why these teams get hot and, why they, have these, like upsets, they win these games they're not supposed to win, is because they game plan well. It's also about strategy. Like, if you game plan better than the other team, you're going to have a leg up in the game. It's about blocking. It's about pass rush. It's about when to blitz. Like, there is a lot of strategy that goes into the NFL, especially in playoff games, because, you're like, I got one shot at this. I have 60 minutes to try to go out and win a playoff game. and that's it.
It reminds me of Dusty May solving the problem with UConn's height by just having them
Throwing it off
the
the
ball to
backboard.
Naimara by just throwing it off the backboard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
think that's BS. I think Elliot Cadeau just couldn't hit a shot.
Yeah.
That's
I
my
could
that's
also.
I still think that's a lie, but who knows? They won a
We'll
natty,
never know,
so
I guess. Yeah.
yeah, it worked, whatever it was.